As the coronavirus pandemic continues to wreak havoc on the economy, small businesses are barely staying afloat, threatening the livelihood of owners and their employees. The Trump administration vowed to do everything it could to help them during this crisis, so we decided to take a break from the breaking news of the day to see how that's going. This is the check-in. Because of social distancing rules, most family-owned and small businesses were forced to shut down around mid-March, which meant they weren't making any money and could no longer afford to pay their employees. So Congress took action a few weeks later, passing its initial stimulus bill, which included something called the Paycheck Protection Program, which was a $350 billion loan program for businesses with fewer than 500 employees. So something like your mom and pop hardware store may qualify, but something like Google or Walmart or the Polyphonic Spree would not. And that's a reference I would only make in an attic. Now, business owners were encouraged to apply for loans, which they would not have to pay back as long as they kept employees on payroll for 8 weeks, or if they used the money for rent payments. And before the PPP even went into effect, Trump's Treasury Secretary and real-life Guess Who piece, Steve Mnuchin, was already boasting about it.
You get the money, you'll get it the same day. You use this to pay your workers. Right now, you can go on the web, see what information you need. Very simple process.
As a general rule, whenever the Trump administration talks about a very simple process, expect to spend a few days on it. It's a very simple process. First, you need a cow as white as milk, a cape as red as blood, hair as yellow as corn, and a slipper as pure as gold. And sure, despite what Mnuchin grunted through his teeth, small business owners ended up not getting their money right away. Some didn't get it at all, and others weren't sure how to apply for these loans because the administration didn't make it clear. It was, in fact, the exact opposite of a very simple process.
Well, glitches and confusion over a new federal program to help small businesses and their employees affected by the coronavirus.
$350 billion, and we don't know all the rules yet. You can't do that overnight.
It felt like the world's largest bait and switch. I've talked to entrepreneurs who've been trying to get a hold of their banker, and no one can do it. It's not a magic wand to say the money is there.
Of course, this administration wants us to believe they can fix everything with magic wands, or enchanted swords, or even glowing orbs. Don't worry, the orb's on it. But unlike Trump, this is clearly not simple, because after the initial rollout of the PPP in early April, it was clear the program was rushed through and was pushed live before banks had the ability to create stable processes for accepting and funding these loan applications. As one small business owner put it, it's like building an airplane while you're flying it. Which, if you've ever flown Spirit, you know can be done. Okay, folks, we'll be pushing back from the gate just as soon as everyone gets their seats bolted into the floor. Remember, it's righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. And then we'll be ready to take off. And look, I'm not saying a program like this would be easy to roll out without glitches, but the president did say that. So it's no surprise Trump became increasingly defensive when he was asked about its many problems.
The Paycheck Protection Program has gotten off to a confusing start for small businesses because Wells Fargo has stopped taking applications. Bank of America initially prioritized taking applications from clients that were already
Bank
borrowers.
of America has been the leader, taking tremendous numbers of applications. I wish you'd ask the question differently. Why don't you say it's gotten off to a tremendous start, but there are some little glitches, which, by the way, have been worked out. It would be so much nicer if you do that. But it's such a positive event, and you ask it in such a negative way.
I wish you'd said, congratulations on how well this program is going. Now, would you like to go back to your room and watch TV? I wish that had been the question. And then I could say yes, and this nightmare would be over. And unfortunately, that positive event Trump bragged about was extremely short-lived because it took 13 days for the Paycheck Protection Program to run out of money. 13 days! Still 2 days longer than a Scaramucci. Oh, remember we used to talk about this guy? Those were the days. So weird, and used to make fun of him, and now, I'd probably vote for him. Now, because the government ran out of money, Mnuchin and Trump had to ask Congress for even more funds, and Trump announced that request in the only way he knows how, by pretending like he needed more resources because he did such a great job the first time around.
We're way ahead of schedule, by the way. We're way ahead of schedule. The Paycheck Protection Program has been incredible. The plan is amazing. They're processing hundreds of thousands of loans.
Yes, they're processing a lot of loans because people are desperate for help. It's like you're standing on the deck of the Titanic saying, man, these lifeboats of mine are going like hotcakes. Of course, they're fake news. Is it going to talk about how popular the lifeboats are? It's just going to be iceberg this, iceberg that. Where's the iceberg from? Obama, China. Look into it. Ask somebody. Now, despite the fact that the initial PPP was not an incredible success, Congress did pass another stimulus which allocated billions more for small businesses. So the administration got a second chance not to screw things up. How did that go?
The new round of government funding, $310 billion, poured into the Paycheck Protection Program for small businesses, got off to a rocky start. The online loan application process plagued with technical issues.
Loans from the federal government were supposed to provide a lifeline to small business owners, but for many, the money has never come.
Got an email saying, sorry, the funds are out, but you're approved.
The bank told that guy, you're approved, but there's no money. That's like saying, congratulations, you've been given a full ride scholarship to On Fire University. And if that's not bad enough, what made things even worse for small business owners was learning which businesses and entities did get approved and got their money. According to reports, public companies received $1 billion in stimulus funds meant for small businesses. And while some of those multi-million, billion-dollar companies who benefited from this program are more obscure, some others are pretty familiar to us.
Popular food chains including Shake Shack, Ruth's Chris Steakhouse, and Potbelly received millions from the Paycheck Protection Program, while some small business owners missed out.
One of the most profitable franchises in the NBA, the Los Angeles Lakers, was able to secure a nearly $5 million loan from the government.
Despite being one of the richest NBA franchises, estimated a worth of $4.4 billion, the Lakers applied and qualified for that loan.
That's right, this thing was handled so poorly that the LA Lakers qualified as a small business. All right, what about this place, La Lakers? I guess it's a basket making company. Now, several of those companies, Shake Shack, Potbelly's, Ruth Chris, and the Lakers, to name a few, gave the money back. We applaud them for that. That was the right thing to do. While others are still refusing to do so, and now Trump's own Justice Department is investigating the program since the rush to get people to funds has led to fraudsters trying to take advantage of its many loopholes. The government is also finally trying to issue rules that would make it harder for large corporations to get those loans, but some say it's a little too late because small business owners need that money just like they need a government that won't deceive them by trying to score political points as they pander to their wealthy donors. And while many of us probably feel helpless about what we can do to help, each person can support local businesses by doing things like getting gift cards, buying vouchers while services aren't available, and giving positive reviews. Because as the Trump administration is still scrambling to figure this out, that would be, as Trump himself likes to say, so much nicer if we do that. This has been The Check-In.